Hello, and today, what are we doing today? Today, we are looking at one of the most popular airgun disciplines in target shooting. We are looking at Benchrest. So we have grabbed two of the most popular models of gun that we sell for Benchrest, and we're going to have a Benchrest battle-off. So let's meet the contenders. At the front, we have the Raw or Rapid Air Works TM1000, which locally to us, a lot of guys are winning a lot of competitions with that. It is an American-made air rifle, and it's nigh on hand built, but we'll get into that shortly. This one is in the walnut stock. They do also make them in loads of different funky laminate colours. And then representing England, we have the AirArms HFT500, which has had a bit of a facelift in quite an important way at the end of last year, which not many people are talking about, or not enough people are talking about. So if we get into it, let's hit you with some digits. So both of these guns use Lothar Walther match barrels, and both of them, I say both of them, the Raw is fully floating. The AirArms HFT500 is mostly free floating. However, when you see it in person, you will see it's got a little teeny tiny rubber stop, which, if you can see it on the camera, you probably can't, is on the end of the screwable fill plug. So it is mostly free floating, but some of them do touch. Just keep an eye on that one. But, oh, nearly, small heart attack, we'll be fine. So both are using Lothar Walther match grade barrels. Now, I can't find any paperwork on it, and they don't quote it on their website. However, I'm happy to be proven wrong in the comments. I believe the Lothar Walther barrel that both of these guys use is actually choked, which will come into will become important when you're pellet testing. But we're getting a bit nerdy. Move on, Mark. People aren't here for full nerd. The Raw is in a 1 in 16 twist rate as well. Now, AirArms don't list their twist rate, but I would have thought it's probably going to be the same. More importantly, the Raw is regulated. The AirArms HFT500 is not. This will be a really this will be a really interesting test to see whether regulation is absolutely necessary to get the most accuracy out of a gun, or whether you can get away with not having a regulator, because AirArms are so well known for their valving. They're so consistent and have been for years. They didn't start putting regulators in their guns until relatively recently. The Raw has a 20 MOA rail. Again, important if you're looking to shoot out to further distances for like extreme bench rest and all that sort of stuff. AirArms, no MOA, not going to matter if you're shooting out to 50 yard. Most scopes are going to be able to handle that. Not a problem at all. The AirArms does 90 shots per fill at 190 bar. So it is a slightly lower pressure than what a lot of the modern guns are doing now. That's partially because it's not regulated as to why it's at 190 bar. The Raw will work off a 250 bar fill. Now, they quote on their website having a 400cc bottle at 400 plus shots. I think there's a slight error on the website because I don't believe that that is a full 400cc air reservoir. Most of the guys who have had these are quoting sort of somewhere between 150 and 200 shots as a rough rule. I would say 200 shots would be absolutely safe as sound. And then we come to the, well, what most of you want to know, the price. So we are looking at the non-super duper wazzy Anschutz Walther Benchrest rifles. We are looking at the attainable air rifles. The Raw is going to be RRP'd at roughly £2,300. Hopefully, the accuracy will be reflected in that price when we shoot it, which we will later. The AirArms HFT500 is up at $1,360. Now, this is a bargain, and I'll tell you for why. The AirArms HFT500, when it first came out, used the same barrel as the AirArms S410 and 510 standard. They have changed it. It is now using the same barrel that they put on their AirArms XTI50, which is their top-of-the-range match-grade rifle. To be able to get a competition rifle that you can quite happily use for bench rest at less than £1,500 with the Lothar Walther match grade barrel on it that they use on their XTI 50, I think is an absolute steal. Here endeth the nerdiness. So the plan with that is, now you know all the details of the guns, we are going to go and do an accuracy test with them. Now, it will be me shooting, so probably you can do better, let's be honest, but it's going to be an honest review of the guns. Unlike my other videos, I have also pellet tested these guns, mainly because these are a little bit like owning a Ferrari. You need to put the right tyres on them and the right fuel in them. You can't just whap anything on and on you go and hope for the best. To get the absolute best out of these guns, you need to do a little bit of research. So I have found, luckily, that QIS are shooting absolutely fine through these. So we're going to use QIS for both of these. The scopes that we're using are different. So we've had some new scopes come in that I'm quite intrigued to try. And on the raw, we have the Falcon optics, the T50i Plus. So that's a massive magnification scope, more than I've ever shot on. That is a 5 to 50 by 60mm lens. It's also on a 34mm tube body, so mounts will be marginally restrictive. There are loads of them out there, but you won't walk into a gun shop and have, or wherever your nearest dealer is, and have loads on the shelf to choose from. You'll have a slightly more limited choice. Those are also on high mounts, and you can see how close the scope is to the barrel. So depending what you're going to put it on, you may need to factor that in. That one RRP is at £500, just under. It seems like a really good price for what it is. So hopefully we'll see. The AirArms has a brand new, to us and model-wise, Hawk Endurance 30 FD. That is a 4.5 to 27 by 56 scope, which is a really interesting mix, because 4.5 to 27, you can use that for out vermin controlling, a bit of standard plinking, and in my opinion, I'd be happy to use that for Benchrest, mainly because I'm not as high level. But if you're getting into it, then that would be a really good shout. They are over £700. I can't remember the exact price, but they're over £700 on RRP. Standard 30mm tube, hence the name. I don't think there's anything else much to say. Both of these has adjustable butt pads. Both of them have adjustable cheek pieces. Well, that's all the numbers bit over. Let's just go and shoot them. So obviously the HFT500 being a target rifle and aimed at Benchrest, so on and so forth. Well, obviously when it came out, it was more hunter field target, hence the name. But being Benchrest, it's also single shot. Operates on a very smooth side lever. You do have to move it quite some distance to actually cock it, and it is under a fair bit of spring tension, hence the hammer spring. But nice action on that one. For this, you're going to be watching me load, and for the first time ever in a video, I'm going to be using a rear rest as well as a front rest. And that's mainly because these guns will shoot far better than I can. So to give them the absolute best chance, I'm giving them a really stable position. And as I say, we're going to be using the Streamline 8.64 grain in the QIS, because they seem to shoot quite well through both. I'll just run down, turn the camera on, and we will see how we go. Targets down there, I put some little marks so that you can see that they are what a 10mm space is. So between the two dots, underneath the big dot. I've also zeroed both of these guns to be shooting high. And the reason I've done that is so that I don't obliterate my aiming point. Because if I take out my aiming point, I can start to wonder, and then it looks a little bit strange. And it doesn't do the guns any favours at all. Anyway, let's just get to it. You're bored. You're here for the shooting. Let's just get. So the scope through this is really lovely. I will put a picture up of the crosshair through this. As I say, it's not an out-and-out target scope, even though it's got the ballistic turrets and all that sort of good stuff, but really lovely scope. I'm going to shoot on 27 times mag on this one. Really easy to load, lovely solid clunk where it overcams to lock the cocking lever in. Camera's down there. You're going to have me in small screen because the big thing with this is going to be the actual groups. Let's just do it. 5-shot groups. Let's see how we go. Triggers firm out of the box. Now both of these guns have fully adjustable triggers. The AirArms one, this is quite firm for a target rifle, and I completely understand why they do that, and it's completely down to the owner to then adjust the trigger as needed. I personally would want this a bit lighter. It's a very firm second stage, but quite nice still, but just a bit too heavy for me for Benchrest. That's my excuse. Really easy to load. Oh, I'm going all rosy cheeked and my heart's going because it's going quite well. And now I'm getting nervous that I'll mess it up for AirArms, and I really want England to win. Breathe away from microphone. What's that? 4? I think that's 4. Good Lord. That is mentally accurate. I might have to buy one of these. I've never shot that well. And the trigger wasn't how I wanted it. And my eyes are getting old, and I didn't adjust the eye release, so I couldn't quite see. That is absolutely mental. Right, let's get on for the TM1000 and see how we go. So this one is, the TM1000 is in the Form, made by Form, which is local to us, walnut fully adjustable stock, which has a thumb channel as well as thumb hole. So it's really, really comfortable. The interesting thing about the TM1000 as well is you can change it over to be left-handed cocking. So right-handed shooters, you could load really fast. Left-handed shooters, you could have something that you can use as a true left hand if you had it in a different stock, because obviously this is designated right-hand stock. Obviously this gun is regulated. It also comes with a very fancy air stripper, which I haven't put on. I've just left it as is without anything else. I'm going to shoot the Falcon on 30 times mag to try and be fair to both. Also, it's mid-range for the Falcon, so this should be absolutely no worries at all for it. Boring bit over, let's get shooting. Right then, so the raw TM1000 is on the left. I'm going to be, again, I've zeroed it high. It might be slightly off to the left as well from memory so that I don't obliterate my aiming point. Strong showing from the AirArms. And I'm going to count out my pellets as well so I don't under or overshoot the target. 5. Right. Side lever. Very, very nice side lever. Slightly slick, well, say slightly. Quite a bit slicker than the AirArms. And very, very little travel for cocking the hammer spring. That's a really nice action. This one feeds directly into the barrel, so you do have to be a little bit dexterous. There's a massive, massive gap. So although I've got small hands, even if you've got big hands, you'd have no issues getting a pellet into the barrel there. So that feeds directly in, close them up, and there's no safety on either of these rifles. Did you hear that? And that's satisfying, really lovely click. Right, I'm going to go thumb channel on this one. This is a very, very good scope. This is extremely clear, even for my dodgy old eyes. That trigger on the TM1000, I can tell you now, is worth the difference in money. That is possibly the best trigger I have felt on anything. Air rifle, any rifle. I shoot with the Vyrak, which has an extremely good trigger on it, on the Vyrak HW100. This knocks spots off it. That is so smooth and light. If you don't like a light trigger, then you definitely have to heavy that up. But that is awesome. Disappointing for the rule there. Oh, it's not bad. We may have to do a second round but change the pellet, mainly because I just like to shoot these rifles again. Is the problem the fact that I'm comparing it to an extremely good group to begin with? And actually that's monumental. Let's go down and have a look. So I believe that this raw can do better than what I've got it to do. Now, it is already impressive. I know it doesn't look quite as compressive on the camera. It looks massive, but I will take some measurements shortly. But I'm going to show you just how pellet fussy these high-level match-grade airguns can be. So I've changed from a QYS, was it an 8.64 grain? I'm now on a QYS 9.56 grain, and we're going to see how we go. You can see 2 new dots down there on the camera. I'm going to go for the left-hand dot with raw written on it, and we're going to see how we go. think I've just picked up the wrong pellet there. I did pick up the wrong pellet. I picked up the 8 grain, not the 9 grain. So let's check another 9 grain in. Wow. So guys, decision time. What gun would I have? Let's have a look at the targets first. I will put pictures up to show you, but we'll just have a quick look. I have, they're the broken ones, my handy dandy calipers. So we're going to measure the smallest group of each. So obviously on the first go round, the raw did not like those pellets. It would appear that the AirArms is much more pellet tolerant. So you can shoot a lot of pellets through it and it will shoot fairly well through all of them. The raw is very much like owning a Ferrari. It needs to be exact. And the difference between shooting a pellet that's all right and a pellet that's very, very good is minute. So both QIS, so a QIS 8.56, I think they are, measures at its widest 11.13 millimeters. It's all right. Any other gun, you would be absolutely jumping up and down at that. But the AirArms with the same pellet did a 6.71 millimeter group in 5 shots. I'll just say that again so you can hear it. 6.71 millimeters. A 177 pellet is roughly 4.5 millimeters. That is unreal. But if you compare that to the raw shooting the QIS 9.56, you're on 7.15 at the widest. There's next to nothing in them. And it would appear I need to do more research and use the raw TM1000 more to be able to get the better groups. So I don't think I've done the raw justice, but don't forget all of those groups are no more than 2 177 pellets side by side. Let that sink in. 2 177 pellets side by side. These guns have shot a group smaller than that. So they are by no means inaccurate. I think the AirArms HFT500 is an absolutely brilliant option if you want to get into Benchrest, but without spending lots and lots and lots of money. You would still be extremely competitive. The fact that they've put the Lothar Walther on this, the XTI 50 barrel, completely changes the gun from what it was. This is now going to be, I predict this is going to start winning a lot of competitions this year because it is unbelievably accurate, especially for an unregulated airgun. The trigger is a little bit rough. The cocking lever is exactly the same as the S510 hunting model and Superlight, so it is a bit rough on the cocking lever. If you've got big hands, then you have to roll it into a tray, as you saw me doing, then it can be a little bit fiddly. But you can put up with that because of the accuracy that you're getting out of this gun. The raw TM1000, I think this is the one I would have. The trigger on it is by far the best trigger I have used on any airgun I've ever fired, and I've done this job for 18 years. This trigger in that is the best, and I will hear nothing else said about it. The cocking lever on it is unbelievably smooth, and it's almost short throw, so you've got a lot of distance until you hit resistance. The only thing I've ever felt that's similar to that would be one of the really high-grade Anschuts PCP rifles, but that's over double the money. Phenomenal on that. The stock is made by Form, which is an English company, which I think is really nice that we're starting to make stuff again, and extremely comfortable. Regulated as well. I think I would prefer this one. The stock is unbelievably comfortable. And I think with time, and from what I've seen with people who've owned these, you can put pellet in pellet, not on pellet, pellet hole and pellet hole and pellet hole, and creep it out to maybe 6 mil, if that. So if you're looking for something to get competitive with and be able to be up in the sort of high-end scoring, the AirArms HFT500 is an absolutely phenomenal option. If you want to be spending time tweaking and getting absolutely unbelievably accurate, and you want to be winning these competitions, the Raw TM1000, in my opinion, is the one to go for. It is just awesome to shoot with. If you've got anyone near you who stocks them, go and have a look, go and have a feel. You'll see exactly what I mean when you actually grab hold of one. Thank you for sticking around. That could have been quite a boring video, but if you've made it all this way, well done. I will see you on the next one.